is no everyone wins setup here at the desk. Sides have been chosen.
And that's the kind of best setup, really.
Yeah.
Someone has to lose or the victory just feels empty, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Someone has to feel the terror of defeat. But now, take a look towards Fusion University. It is distinctly not GOATS powered, but it will be 3 support. Then we look to the Legion, and it's going to be Blase in the skies, and the Legion are playing it more by the book.
Yeah, GOATSy dive composition coming out from Fusion University as Who Are You on the Genji here. So Blase is going to have a lot of free space to work with, as already he's getting a lot of damage across, 20% towards his ultimate now. Jumping on to the Lucio, they will be able to finish off Rolf.
Rolf had nowhere to go there. Both supports out of the fight, and the Legion just had a poor engage, and Fusion just jumped right in at the right time. It's going to be a quick first point take for them.
Yeah, even though Blase was getting the damage across, there was no follow-up onto that. You need to be able to get the poke off, and then, of course, the follow-up damage coming out from either your tanks or, of course, your Tracer, who Corey has now swapped off from. He's going over to that Hanzo. Play a little bit more further range because, well, he's going to get checked by Zachary if he tries to get into the back line with that Tracer.
All right, Blase in the skies right now. The Legion having the work from behind, where trying to evict GOATS after the setup in your territory, pretty difficult, as Who Are You immediately got the Corey on the other side. Who Are You's not done yet, makes it 2, builds up the blade, won't even need to pull it out. And the Legion has been fairly split in their engagements here, and Who Are You's got to freelance like a god.
Did we get to mention that Who Are You's pretty darn good on the Genji? Pretty good with it. And he's got this blade, and so coming into this next fight, they don't have really anything to answer for. Rolf is now swapped off onto the Moira here. Really odd support composition, which we don't see often, but I know that Mica's loving this. We got the Mercy and the Moira.
Mercy Moira back on the other end. Blase coming on the other side, almost close to a barrage. Meanwhile, though, you gotta be looking to Fusion, where they have the blade set up, where you doesn't have to worry about anyone really ruining it. Now, he does get chunked early on, but there's no support to stop him if he finds one opportunity. That might be now. Dives in, gets Corey, gets Panker, already pushed over. Who Are You was waiting for this, and he got it.
Hey, Who Are You's pretty good at this Genji guy, right? As he's able to just cut down Fusion University. Again, there was just no answer for him whatsoever, and that is like the biggest value blade coming out from him, as that's all they needed to win out this team fight. Now, we're in 1 team fight territory of Fusion University. They're holding on to 5 ultimates here, as Gladiators, with another swap off, they're getting jumped on at their spawn.
Fusion would have to throw so hard they could be in the MLB right now if they're gonna lose this fight, but they did lose alarm early on. They got super aggressive at diving in. They're still not able to prevent the overtime, so trials might be happening. Get to a farm system now, as Fusion is in a much tougher spot than you would think they would be for how this began. The Legion coming back in.
Oh, but Bernard taken out.
Yeah, that was a very nice self-destruct coming in from Bernard, and that might be enough. However, Panker's brought back into the fight, but now doesn't really have the teammates around him anymore. This is looking like it's going to go to the Fusion as they clean up the Legion.
Yeah, the res was used onto Panker, who finally does get that Primal Rage off, but this is just gonna be stalled, never mind. He tags the ledge there, isn't able to make it down in time to contest long enough, but it honestly just would not have been enough for them there. And so Fusion University with a dominant first point win here up against Gladiators Legion.
Yeah, I would say the biggest problem there for the Legion is that they're never even able to make it about tanks. Who Are You was just constantly in the back line, was able to pick someone off here, pick someone off there, and the Legion basically never got a full good fight, even at the very beginning, where Fusion just kind of caught them from behind, got the early pick off on the Rolf. There has to be a part of Legion right now feeling like they didn't even get to play the video game.
I mean, they just executed perfectly there. Rolf was the first one to go down, and then, of course, they transitioned over to Pooks because he doesn't have an additional healer there. Now, as we move on to the next points, it's that same composition, the Genji dive with the triple support coming out from Fusion University, as Legion are going to try and run the Tracer along with the Pharah once again.
Look for the boop here. Blase is in a really good spot for it. That's why Fusion couldn't go for the high ground. They had to respect the Pharah. Corey harassing here, where you're going up against Alarm. He's a pretty hard elimination as a Tracer, but while Alarm's looking at the Tracer, he wasn't looking at Blase. Blase came in, dropped the rocket from above, damage boosted and all, and the Legion now have a much better engagement. They get to play an even fight here for once. Both Winstons, though, out of the fight. And this is where, if you're Legion, you want to get Panker back into the fight, but you're down Corey. Corey wasn't able to finish things off on Elk, but it doesn't really matter as no one's challenging Blase here. He continues laying in the damage, and this is looking better for the Legion.
Yeah, Bernard with that solo healing coming out from Alarm just was not able to stay in that fight, and it was Gods who was actually able to boop him off with the booster there, taking out his counterpart in that Diva. So Legion, it's a long scrap, but they were able to walk away with that victory, and they will take control of that point. Now Zachary swaps off from that Brigitte, will be going over to the McCree to try and deal with Blase in the sky, but he still has to be careful. Rockets will come down aplenty soon as that barrage is ready.
Not a fan of McCree swaps. If you look at the stats for McCree swaps working out, it's pretty low. We'll see if Zachary's able to challenge Blase here, but this has historically not been a good swap here. Who are you? Tried to go for Rolf. Rolf got a salty revenge on the other side. No one's really dealing with Blase yet. And while Zachary's looking for Blase, he wasn't looking at Corey, flanking from behind. And Corey's getting all the cleanup he needs and more. The Legion recovering right now on Oasis.
Very different looks coming out here. Wow, Corey continues his hunt. Looks like he's got his big game license there, taking out Beast Halo. So now the Legion at 45%. They have weathered a lot of the storms, but they've got to weather, of course, the Dragon Blade coming up from Who Are You. They don't have the support ultimates. The best they can do is possibly use Panker, try and use that Primal Rage to zone him out with that blade.
Hey, I mean, Zachary at least heard us. He got off McCree, and I think it's a good thing for it. It's not been very good for most teams here, but now they're going to move in. Look at Blase. He's so set up for a good barrage here and uses it to delete Elk. Don't know if that was super worth. Gets barrage deflected back into him, and now sets up Who Are You. Comes in for the blade, dash reset, and a slash. Yeah, I think Blase rushed that barrage just a little bit as Who Are You cuts Fusion University back into this game.
Yeah, the GA just used a little bit too quickly by Pooks there. Of course, with the reset, Who Are You was able to chase after him, and Panker not able to stay on top of him and keep tabs of him with that Primal Rage. Was unable to shut it down. So the Primal Rage just goes wasted. Luckily for them, though, he took a lot of damage, was able to kite away and got some additional healing off over the Pook. So he's now very close to, of course, that Valkyrie now. Almost 80% for the Legion here. Oh, the Pulse Bomb. Corey's able to recall out of it.
That's why you don't Pulse Bomb other Tracers. It's a stylish move. It's not a very good move. So Corey, able to stay alive, drain Zachary's Pulse Bomb out of the fight. Now notice Rewind's still off because that Pooks is out of the fight. Both teams now to support. Corey looking for the opportunity late in the bomb, didn't get much. The Legion though, starting to corral Fusion into where they want them, but it turns out they didn't want to be in there at all. Zachary and Who Are You fight their way back out, and the Fusion gonna take this fight and hold their serve.
Complete reset coming out from Legion, but no swap-offs either. We'll see if they want to stick with this far. Blase might swap off. Honestly, they're slowly running out of time. Of course, we know how difficult it can be to retake Azafara, but this point is a little bit different because she does have that approach where she can come in from the water side and pepper away before anyone even realizes she's there.
They do have a swap up here, though, with Roof going to Brigitte, and this is directly in response to Zachary, and a little bit for Who Are You, where you could almost assume he has a blade, even though he doesn't have it just yet. Who Are You took a big chunk of damage here early on. Fusion again, getting corralled by Blase. This gives the Legion tanks a big moment, but now Fusion's gonna break back out. They use the barrier to come back in. Gods holding on to self-destruct. You let it fly, you wait a little bit longer. It's easy to take cover here, but now that's breaking down so much. Now you have the Transcendence up here. You could drop it to make Fusion run for cover, but neither team diving in as heavily as you might expect. It's going longer, there's the barrage, it rains from above, it takes down a Diva Mech, and Blase lives to fight another day. Legion might now be able to bring this through. The barrage has done its duty.
Overtime ticks away, and at this point, Fusion University should just reset. They'll have time to come back as a full 6 here. There we go. Legion take the point now. Look, Gods is getting really close to that rally, which is going to be important to try and keep Pooks alive into this next fight.
Who's going to stop Who Are You?
Yeah.
It's going to be maybe Rolf, but this is quite rough where you got to look to Who Are You right now. He's the man with the key, and that key is a sharp blade. Corey, though, almost picks off Alarm, comes back the other side. But there's Who Are You. And right now, it's just, where is Who Are You? He's waiting so long, he's getting poked down. Now he can't use the blade. The Legion fight to and fro. Zachary out of the fight. Who Are You going to be looking for this blade?
Now we do have a self-destruct, putting a stop to him now, but as soon as it's gone, he takes to the air, 2 swipes, takes out Pooks, starting to swing the fight into his favor. Brigitte though is there to stun him up, and Corey will follow up, and now it's all in the hands, of course, the Diva, Bernard, trying to keep it alive, but as overtime ticks away, it's gonna be Legion we're able to tie it up 1-1 here on Oasis.
Fusion did not know how they wanted to engage that, and I think the key there is just how long you saw Who Are You hold on to his blade. It's like, and I'm curious what led to that. We didn't see Who Are You's point of view leading into that, but it's sort of, I do wonder what's pressuring him. He did get chunked a few times looking in, so, I mean, Legion were keeping aware, and I think part of it was I think Panker was sort of keeping him on the outskirts, not giving him that ideal blade opportunity, which, by the way, stopping blades when you don't have a Transcendence on deck, actually pretty difficult.
Yeah, both Gods and Panker basically just on Who Are You duty at this point. As we saw there, when we finally got him into our point of view, Gods was right there on top of him with that Diva to really chunk him down and make him really consider if he wants to go in with the blade now. So we go on to the next point. It's going to be the solo support composition for Fusion University. 3-2-1 now. As Legion, they're going to keep Blase on that Pharah, and they've got the Zarya along with Reinhardt with their tank line.
Zachary is a good Widow. I don't know if this is a good area for Widow. There's so many ways a Pharah can rotate around and make your life difficult. Sight lines for Widow are tough here, and Zachary utilizing that low hook cooldown to stay alive after he got pooped down. Corey was getting poked out pretty heavily as McCree, but now both sides have struck blood. Corey on one end, Zachary on the other. It's a 5-on-5. It's starting to break down a little bit more, and Corey, for now, is getting more done.
Now they were able to res Gods back into this. That meant, of course, there was no healing out for Panker, so he will ultimately fall. They are now just corralled into the mini health pack room as Zachary just getting free shots every time they poke their head out. And now Blase, he's about to get hunted down. Zerfraside is there. Who Are You will finish him off. Still good delay coming out from the Legion here as they're slowly trying to come out one by one. They got it up to 30%.
Zachary had a nice lay in there. Easy shots of both McCree and Mercy. And again, I mean, McCree can work out on this map. Does Corey really want to stay on it versus this? Like, I'm not the biggest fan of Widow here, but this makes more sense. You go to Tracer, now you have way more room to pressure Zachary in what's not always the most Widow favorable stage.
Look, Blase will now swap off himself from that Pharah going over to the Brigitte. So he's going to try and really enable Panker here, and Corey!
Oh, what a save!
Gets shut down by Alarm. Zachary survives with 0.5 HP there.
Zachary's not going to be able to unclench for at least the next 3 team fights after that one. Alarm barely getting the save. Corey, though, he's had enough as Tracer. He's actually looking at Hanzo's like, actually, I don't want to get hooked.
Yeah, and you know what? This is a good look, right? Because they do have that wombo combo they can set up with that Zarya. Gods is at 65%. Corey should be able to get the damage up this time. But then Mike, Who Are You? Gets stunned up by the shield bash, but it's Corey that shuts him down.
Yeah, Who Are You is like, wait, I have another chance? No, you don't. Sonic arrow straight to the head. But now, you see that they're heading back the other way. Panker, res back into the fight, and this is where Reinhardt can start isolating space. They almost have the shatter. Zachary's gonna go to the Widowmaker here. Oh, immediately finds Pooks, makes the Widow work. Legion, though, still with a lot of meat on the ground. Zachary's gonna have to do a little bit more. Now as Corey challenging him, Corey has the orb. It's a rough spot for Zachary, but he takes it with the aid of Who Are You and the DPS of Fusion. Now rolling on the outskirts, they evict the Legion from the point.
Who Are You with another elimination there, taking out Panker. This is some great stall, great delay coming out from Fusion University. Oh, they're gonna even delay further as Rolf was caught out, just shooting into a defense matrix. Bernard understanding that he can drag this out for as long as he wants, really. Now, speaking of Bernard, he's got the self-destruct up, and this could be a great zoning tool as Legion are trying to come in. Corey's already gone.
It has to be about grab versus shadow right now. It needs to be the grab. Gonna see Gods drop the grab, picks up 3. But Panker's down. Panker got taken out by Alarm. They're not going to have the Earthshare fall through. The Legion are wounded. They're down arguably their best player. And Zachary has made the Widow work here on University. Rips Pooks right off from the wall. And Fusion now just a few picks away from taking this first map. The Legion have been thrown back. Panker, it's the last ditch of Shadow. Not going to be enough. Thrown off the point.
Fusion University. It was a back and forth affair. 2-1. We'll take the victory there on Oasis.
But Zachary, my gosh, what a Widowmaker player. Like, amazing.
Yeah, and he was also backed up by Alarm there, where I thought, okay, you got Corey going on the Tracer, this is gonna be good. Zachary's immediately getting hunted, and then Zachary's just like, please, someone save me, I need a hero. And that hero came in the form of a large man from the Outback, played by Alarm.
Large man from the Outback. Also, a hero came in Zachary being Zachary and switching over to Widowmaker because I feel like everything changed for him.
Yeah, I mean, this is not the easiest stage to get Widow played on. You'll see teams sometimes try in the beginning and then swap right off. But Zachary made it work here, and he was consistently getting good shots, particularly onto Pooks, where Pooks, whether it be at the Mercy or Lucio, he was Zachary's favorite go-to player.
Yeah, definitely. The Widowmaker is not a traditional pick there on University, but he made it work out. There was one point where, you know, he was in trouble, but he somehow got out due to a great hook coming out. But beyond that, like, he had free reign with that Widowmaker. Now, you know, he's really just trying to make sure that he's pulling double duty during our Overwatch World Cup stop, where we will also be having our Contenders finals. He wants to be able to have that double header there, it looks like.
I'm so excited to see how that's going to play out and how that's going to work, but only time will tell. And who are you, obviously, pulling out the blade and doing some work?
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, this is what we realize, you know, this is what we know about Who Are You, right? Sometimes he'll have great blades and sometimes he doesn't, but when he does have the great blades, they are fantastic.
Also, that was round 2. What I would really go back to is look to round 1, where he didn't even let the Legion play the game, right? Where he was consistently getting behind, getting a pick off here, a pick off there, and it started from the very first fight where the Legion were just desperately trying to rotate around, and Rolf's just like, please, God, save me. He's still throwing shurikens into my back. Rolf ends up falling early, and Who Are You was just in full control and in top form going from round 1 and into the next.
Yeah, Rolf was not having a good time, especially on City Center. I believe he swapped off 4 times there, where just nothing was working for him. He tried to go over to Brigitte, he went on to Lucio. I believe he might have been on the Moira for a little bit. It just did not work out for him at all.
Smart map choice coming out here from the Legion, where you don't want to go to Eichenwald, where there's times that you can have that go away from you for reasons other than your tanks. The DPS can kind of be sneaky and tricky with things. Instead, you bring it to King's Row, where what is King's Row synonymous with? It's synonymous with good tank play. You want to take this fight, although I will say, to Fusion's credit, I think Bernard so far actually has been an upgrade over Crackalacken. He's had more hero moments than Crackalacken had, and he's getting better with them week after week, so it's shoring up what's previously been a weakness.
So you think that Legion has a advantage here?
I think they do, but it's very slight.
It plays more to their strengths. Like I've always said this, I want to see more of Gods on the Zarya because he does play a fantastic Zarya, and then in conjunction with Panker's Reinhardt, enabling him with the barriers, it's going to be huge for them. But this is a point where it can really go back and forth. I do favor the tank line for Legion here, but I also favor the DPS line for Fusion. And I think the Fusion DPS, especially Zachary on the Widowmaker, can just absolutely carry this map.
All right, now we get to roll on into the mean streets of King's Row and taking a look here at the teams and the defenses that we see. Defense for the Fusion, it's going to be Alarm on the Roadhog and Elk still on that Mercy in the back, but it's not quite solo support. It's going to be Who Are You? No way. You're really putting Who Are You in Brigitte?
It's Who Are You on Brigitte, though. So, like, I feel like, you know, it's just basically DPS anyhow.
Yeah, he's going to be like, what do you mean I have a shield or the ability to throw armor packs? No.
He's going to be in their spawn door. He's going to be in their spawn door.
He's going to be at the spawn. I tend to agree. I'm not sold on this defense. We'll see how it works. Meanwhile, I look to the Legion, and we're going to play something a little bit more standard where they get to go ground and pound. There's not going to be a Zarya with Panker.
Yeah.
It's going to be a Reinhardt Diva, which is a less seen take on the composition.
It still does enable Panker, right? Like, you throw the defense matrix up, and you're going to be able to swing with him. Well, we'll see if they can force Fusion University down onto the low ground, which is the most important part. Make sure that the Orisa is there and vulnerable to the front line of the Legion as Blase slowly making his way into the back line with this Genji.
He's going to have plenty of opportunities to engage from multiple different angles here, where for now, Fusion's giving up a lot of room. Corey almost gets that early pickoff. It's dangerously close. Still looking for more, and Fuchs somehow gets caught early by Brigitte of all things. You're right, you looking more like a DPS than support, but Panker smushes him into the wall, and the Legion still have a good attack going.
Yeah, and they've got the first tick now. And that was after forcing them onto the low ground. They do have the res onto Who Are You, bring him back into this. But again, they don't have any presence quite yet until Alarm takes out Pooks.
Nice!
He's going to try his best to stay on the point, but now they have stopped the second tick from coming on in.
That was a charge for Panker going to Who Are You, and Who Are You says, no, not again. Got the shield bash, kept himself in the fight. Panker ends up out of position, ends up falling, and Fusion fight it on back.
Now, I like this. Beast Halo does swap off onto the Reinhardt, and so this is where Who Are You with that Brigitte will come in clutch because Panker does have that Earth Shatter. So you want to really just create more moments for Beast Halo at this point. Now, the Emperor Sight is going to come in from Corey to try and get the great positioning for Legion as they approach.
Koryu's probably going to near instantly pop the rally. He does just that. The Legion, though, working with the Earth Shatter in their back pocket here. Beast Halo nowhere close. Alarm can whole hog if he's not part of that Earth Shatter, so it's important he gets caught with him. But here's Blaze. Blade to the back, immediately gets rid of his Kryptonite, and Who Are You? Panker, though, falls, wasn't able to get an Earth Shatter off in the least, and Zachary is bringing it right on back. 2 pickoffs from Zach, and that's going to be Fusion holding.
By the way, that was Beast Halo's Earth Shatter that came out there. And because of just all the protection and, of course, extra sustained offered by Who Are You, Beast Halo was able to swing, build that up, and turn over that team fight in their favor. Now Panker, he's finally going to have that extra kind of enabling factor coming out from God now as he swapped off onto that Zarya.
All right, Panker, hold on to the Earth Shatter. Let's see if the second time is more effective. Zachary being a little creepy here on the left side. No one really knows he's there. Has a good shot onto the Mercy for Zen. Has a clean opportunity and connects. Wolf out of the fight. Still 5-on-5. Panker holding onto the Earth Shatter where he could let it go at any moment. Zachary not gonna have a shot for a while, so I want to know how Panker's trying to set this up. Elk ends up falling. Blaze goes the other way, and Panker grabs Beast Halo, all the while holding on to the Shatter. They're not even gonna have to use the tire here, so it's a good defense, but it's come to the end.
Yeah, again, Who Are You's aggression getting punished there. You have to remember in this kind of solo support, I guess, duo support line up with Who Are You, who was picking up that Brigitte, that you need to keep her alive. She is the only one who is able to offer any extra sustain onto the point. And when she goes down and you try to go for that res, that leaves Beast Halo and Bernard very vulnerable to the rest of the Legion there. And so now we've got Zaryas on both sides. Panker is still holding on to another Earth Shatter. Gonna go ahead and back away. So they realize that Alarm is over on that Moira.
We see Panker has the Earth Shatter ready. And right now, it could be Gods first, could be Panker first. It depends on who gets the opportunity. Panker's good enough making his own chances, and it could be him before Gods, but these tank ults are going to be the name of the game. You see the tire coming from the back, so this is a distraction. Even if the tire doesn't get anything, well, it got shot by Zachary. That's all it got. And Fusion just pulls back, but a lot of space has gone the way of the Legion. And meanwhile, let's see if Panker can get the shadow.
Yeah, Blaze's gone down. That's going to force out the res, and now Gods is going to charge forward. Graviton Surge connects onto 5, and that's all the Legion on the kill feed here. Zachary, the only one alive, as he has to just run away. This entire time, the Legion just taking free real estate here on the mean streets of London.
Yeah,
and that ain't cheap.
Yeah, and you take a look at Panker, still has the Earth Shatter the entire time, so we're seeing his point of view, and does have to do it because Gods landed an excellent Graviton there. Now we'll go forward where it's gonna be Ryan v. Ryan.
Ryan battles, but it's the rally coming out from Who Are You to give them a little bit extra sustain, but you can't sustain through the burst damage of Blaze's Rip Tire.
Earth Shatter up for Beast Halo, mostly blocked. Not enough for Wolf, who does go down as a result, but the Legion still with an opportunity here. Wolf brought back up. Panker still holding, drops the Shatter, and gets nothing. Blocked on out. He thought the payload would be sneaky enough. It wasn't, but they're still going to be able to keep it over the top. Corey now going to the damage boost, and Widow has plenty of room to work with.
Yeah, Alarm is down as Corey drops low. There we go. Zachary is finished off. It's Panker, 2-for-1 special with that Fire Strike.
Yeah, it got awfully hot over there towards the Fusion side. And I see Corey looking for a little bit more. Probably gonna go high ground in a moment. And Who Are You? Watch your step. Blaze catches him off guard with the trap. And suddenly it's the Legion with unchecked and unchained momentum here. Fusion going to the emergency Sombra and immediately thrown back out. The Legion gonna push through King's Row rather quickly through B and C after a rough go on point A.
2 minutes plus left on the Legion time bank there. They were able to just mow through the second phase almost completely unfazed off the back of a great Graviton Surge coming out from Gods, and that's what I want to see. I want to see more Gods on the Zarya. He needs to be that extra damage dealer that the Legion desperately need right now in the face of Fusion University's Who Are You and Zachary, and that did work out for them. 2 minutes and 26 seconds. That's their time bank here on King's Row.
And also just kind of going back to, well, why would a team choose King's Row and otherwise? You got a good taste of it there where the Legion, even though there was good plays from Corey and Blase, that really did feel at times like the Gods and Panker show in terms of how they were out-positioning Beast Halo and Bernard at multiple points and able to find ways through. So the Legion still eternally rely on their tanks to give them the advantage, and I think at times this does make this a more difficult matchup for Fusion.
And to his credit for Beast Halo going up against Panker, I think he's done a pretty admirable job, especially in the Rhine battles. He blocked a good number, well actually, what, Panker threw out one Earth Shatter?
Yeah.
He blocked it, right? But he also had the contribution of Who Are You, who was on Brigitte for a lot of this map to really help him out and help him succeed, which is something that Legion weren't doing themselves. Panker was just really relying upon Gods and working with that kind of synergy. So while a lot more was invested into Beast Halo, Panker did a lot more with less.
Well, the other thing about it, too, is that I think even though Beast Halo's reined things in, he's not giving himself up for free nearly the way that he did in the past. Yeah, there's also sort of an air of intimidation with Reinhardt, and it's one of those things where Panker just like stamps his foot and Beast Halo just flinches. He's like, oh god, don't hit me!
Yeah, where you're kind of just frozen in fear from the murderous intent coming up from your opponent. Now, it's going to be Fusion University on the offense. They're going to run the Shimada composition. They've got Who Are You, of course, on the Genji, and Zachary on the Hanzo. This man has been able to do so much with the huge hero pool now, as Who Are You is making his way into the back line, but he's been spotted out, already dropped down to 75 HP. It's Corey who takes out Zachary.
Corey showing up where it's been a less than dominant game for points here, but check Zachary early on, forces out the early res. Who Are You, though, still primed to cause some chaos in the backline. Fusion starting to gain good position. You see them wrapping around the outskirts. The Gladiators Legion now going to be surrounded by enemies on all ends. Who Are You? Looking to the hotel from the opposite end. Looking for Blase, where, evicting a wrap from the hotel, pretty good for any offense right now, but hasn't been too much chance for Who Are You just yet. Corey's gonna fall, God's out of it, poked too far down, and this tricky position of Fusion now starting to get the Legion off their point.
Yeah, Legion just too preoccupied about trying to avoid all this damage. They gave up 2 ticks for free, they gave up positioning, they allowed Who Are You and Zachary to just 3 shots off onto them, and they weren't able to use the shield, the Reinhardt shield, really to its full effect. They were taking so much poke damage by not being able to stand behind it because there were so many different angles of attack coming out from Fusion University. Now, coming to this next fight as we enter into streets, this is a point where Fusion University can really snowball out of control. They've got both Dragons almost online, along with both support ultimates.
Yeah, this is quite good for the Fusion right now, and what they have all set up, you have Elk with the Valkyrie up and play. Oh, alarm's already down. Okay, well, now they're gonna have to try and res it, but you don't have Valkyrie. A Transcendence cover, and meanwhile you have the tower coming the other way, so you don't want to use anything until you know what that does, and well, what that does is it removes Beast Halo from the fight. Time to go back to the drawing board. Fusion University gonna back this one up.
Not too much invested by Legion, right? They answered almost ultimate for ultimate. There was, of course, the Valkyrie along with the Dragon used by Fusion University on the opposite end. We had the Transcendence along with that tire, but Pook's preemptive Valkyrie coming out for them. They were expecting some aggression coming out from Fusion University, so Fusion could just wait this out and back off. Here we go, the blade.
Who Are You going in? This has been big for Fusion in the past, but Who Are You was isolated, taken down. The problem is, so many people are focused on him, they weren't looking at the Beast Halo and Zachary, who were easily able to get on the other side. The Legion still bleeding more players than not, and this should be a very quick point to take for the Fusion. I don't think the Legion can get back in time.
Yeah, and Panker uses Earth Shatter in that fight himself, so he's not going to have that coming into the next one. Luckily, though, for him, God's is going to have that Graviton Surge laying in wait, and so if he can get a good 3-4 man, that'll allow Panker to really build it up again. We'll see if he can get that opportunity right now, as Zach is perched on the high ground here with this Dragon Strike, so he might just put an end to this next team fight with that.
It's going to be hard, though, because there's not going to be anything that can really set it up. It's going to be Zachary versus the world here, and that's why he's holding on to the Dragons, right? Didn't have a good opportunity. Beast Hable's going to go to the back, and while he's doing that, it's hoping he'll be enough to finish him off. They got Panker, a big early attack. The Graviton comes in while this is going on, but the Graviton came in while the Dragon was still pushing the Legion back, so it wasn't quite enough. Zachary's gonna get brought back up. Here comes the self-destruct back the other way. The Fusion not letting the foot off the gas. Corey's out of the fight. It's a 6-on-5, and the Fusion aren't done yet.
Who Are You now 60% towards another blade here. Great deflect, brings him down low. We see Blase dropping there. Zachary hits him up with another arrow. Who Are You is now getting chased down by Panker, and he actually falls into the pit.
Yep, knocked on over to the pit. The Legion not out of it here just yet. You see the Dragon coming on in, forcing Fusion back a little bit more, and they're just like, wait, Who Are You's out of it? He's in the pit. Time to retreat.
Now Panker looks like he was paying attention during PE when tennis was in session. Was able to just bat him expertly into that hole there. It's a great way to shut him down, but we'll see if they can shut him down again. He's got another blade here, as Panker does have that Earth Shatter. He could just commit it onto that.
All right, Fusion, of course, they have the Dragon Blade, and yeah, as you note, I think that, hey, Who Are You comes with Dragon Blade, you absolutely swing the hammer and knock him to the ground. You don't even think twice about it, given what he's done. Exactly. Builds up another Dragon Strike rather quickly. Fusion, again, taking the slow approach. We're gonna start with the Dragon. Early Earth Shatter from Panker, though, and it's gonna result in the D-Mech and Beast Halo falling. That was very worth for the Legion, and means that that Dragon doesn't get much of anything done.
Yeah, and of course, off the back of that Earth Shatter, they're able to come up with one. They get Beast Halo back into this now, but Corey connects from downtown, taking out Alarm, and that will put a stop to Fusion University, who need to back away now. They're down to 3 minutes. You have to remember the Legion set up a 2-minute and 26-second time bank here, so Fusion University doesn't look like they're going to be able to set a better time up against them. Corey, once again, another Dragon Strike waiting here on the top.
This Fist of Gods is burning red. He has so much energy even after the fight has been out of it for a while, and okay, questionable. I'm excited to see if it works. It's a bold play. Zachary's going to dive on in. Meanwhile, hanging back. Legion working with a lot of balls here. Here comes Who Are You once more. The blade out, but answered by Transcendence, and Who Are You? Nowhere to go. Got grabbed. Transcendence was out. But so far, he's the only casualty here. However, Fusion's getting poked on down, and that should be more than enough for a successful defense, but they're lucky they stayed on the point.
Yeah, there were so many answers there that Who Are You just basically had no chance at success. The only way really that would have succeeded was if he had an Ana who could have thrown a Bionic Nade in there. But of course the Transcendence was used, he was getting pocketed, but he got shut down as Blase is of course on that Brigitte. He saw him getting stunned up there. And so now of course, as it comes down to the wire, as we do so often here, the Overwatch Contenders, Fusion University are gonna go ahead and goat it out.
It's always about the shatter here though, where Panker, nice opportunity to lay it on down. Beast Halo's been a good job on the defense the other side, but you want to look towards Panker, drop the shatter, and it's a fat one. Gets two right off the bat, and Fusion, you can just hear the cartoon like sort of screech and then backing on up, because that's all you can do at that point. You've lost your front line.
Gods and Panker, they're just excellently in sync right now with the Reinhardt and Zarya, and this is what I want to see coming out from Legion. Gods now is going to be able to continue that rotation of ultimates.
That's a nice response coming from Blase. He saw the snipers coming in and goes, no, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm going to go to the Genji. He's ready to dive on back, but what the Fusion probably aren't ready for here is the fact that Gods has another Graviton. A Dragon Strike is holding in reserve, so unless they get some early pickoffs, this is going to go real bad for them real fast, because you look to Gods right now. Has a Graviton, plenty ready for it, holding, waiting, and they're just gonna wait till the shield is down. He doesn't want to throw it into the team. That's the only thing that can ruin his plans. Instead, drops it on top. Hello, goodbye. Dragon's gonna get his buffet.
That is just so perfect, because there's no way the D.Va defense matrix is gonna even be able to eat that up. It connects onto the snipers that were, of course, up on that perch, and now Fusion University, they're down to 25 seconds here. All they've got is a self-destruct coming up from Bernard to try and open things up. Beyond that, they need Who Are You and Zachary to just connect with everything, but it's Corey who shuts that down.
They need him to connect with everything. Not connect, though, with the arrow from Corey's bow. That was not part of the equation. Fusion now, they have to touch a payload, so Bernard immediately has to invest himself. Uses a very early self-destruct. That self-destruct is about staying alive after touching. But now Transcendence is in. Dragon Strike back the other way. A big shatter in from Beast Halo. And the fall-through is there enough to get Panker. Dragon Strike back the other way. Fusion, 6'5" edge, starting to work their way back on in. Meanwhile, you look to Gods, charged up and on fire. It's going to be the other team trying to get weakened, but Blase He built up an early blade, picked up one, back the other way. Gods, 100% energy. He's got a grab, looking for it. Panker has the shatter. And the tanks for the Legion combine once more and end up giving it over to their team. Legion have evened up the series.
Gods was obscene. Like that's what you call just disgusting, but in the best kinds of way. Those were just, wow. Would it be bad to say Gods was playing like a god?
No, that would be entirely accurate. But only one god, not plural.
Not plural.
Just one. We only get.
We're monotheistic in this house, all right? No, I mean, Gods, that Zarya swap-off just makes so much sense in the face of what Fusion University are running, right? Because a Genji, what can't he deflect? Well, of course, Zarya's beam. Also, Diva, who gets countered by, who gets countered by Zarya the hardest? Kind of Diva, and that's what he was able to do. Bernard was getting melted down so often because Gods was just there in his face with that Zarya. And it was just perfect to see coming up from them.
Also, it felt very appropriate how that ended, where that last fight actually was going very much the way of the Fusion there towards the very end. Like, you take it's where the kill feed wasn't telling the tale of the tape, because even as you see, I'm just like, wait, Panker's back up, Gods is there, they both have ultimates, and they just combine at the very end to pull them off the payload. And even if they didn't lose just from not being on the payload at that point, that was going to be Gods and Panker wiping the entirety of the Fusion team off of that. So, well done to them. And again, tanks have been the strength of the Legion, and it continues to hold true right now.
Yeah, as you were saying, it wasn't just Gods being insane and having like 100% energy going all the time, but the combinations with Panker and also Corey for combining their ults were really just wiping out Fusion, and it was just amazing coordination and teamwork coming from Legion.
This is one of the rare moments where Gods is actually sitting on like 0 energy, by the way. But as soon as he's able to get both shields up, both of his barriers up, you can see instantly he'll get himself easily up to 60, 80, and then from there he's melting everybody. Who Are You just could not do anything with that Genji. You saw at one point where he did get the blade off, and he was hunting down, I believe it was Rolf on the Zenyatta, but Gods was right there to shut him down before he could get any more like dash resets and stuff.
Yeah, the tanks were doing really well and just denying Who Are You what he wanted, where, look, I mean, Who Are You got plenty of traction back on map 1, especially with Dragon Blades, and the Legion have backed up and said, wait, if Who Are You is going to be so darn aggressive and moving on in, why don't we hold back when we sort of have alt-time things in our head and go, we probably has a blade? And they did hold back, and they consistently found a way to punish him every time he was going on in. It was a very nice adaptation from the Legion.
Well, on the back of that amazing map, we are tied up 1-1, but don't worry, we have more Overwatch coming at you after a quick break.